once again once we start. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Are coming in. Maybe I think we can wait for something like 50 participants. I'm hoping
Yeah,
there would be 50.
yeah, that's fine. It's already 38, so we can just wait for 2 or 3 more minutes, then we can
Mm.
start. Yeah. How is it? मतलब अभी तो start नहीं हुआ, but how it is? Like, it is fine. हाँ, तो मैं अभी start करूँ कि सर ने बोला wait करने के लिए? हो गया. हम्म. So he said that we should wait till it happens to be 50. 43 हो गया. हाँ, the last happened. थाने. हाँ, हाँ, चालू છે. ચાલો. બાય.
Okay, I think we
Yeah,
should start
yeah,
now.
we shall start.
Right.
So, yeah,
Vandana?
yeah, sir. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
So, namaste and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us live today. I'm Vandana Chauhan, and it is my absolute pleasure to host this special learning session titled Understanding Amur Falcon Migration and Open Interaction. On behalf of Raptor Network India, I extend my heartiest greetings to all the researchers, forest personnel, NGO members, students, bird watchers, and raptor enthusiasts who have joined us from across India and beyond. For those who are joining us today, Raptor Network India is a growing and vibrant community dedicated to monitoring and protecting these raptors. It brings together people from different walks of life. The vision is simple yet very powerful, to create spaces to learn from each other, share field experiences, build scientific understanding, strengthen conservation through collective effort. This platform aims to make raptor research more collaborative, more inclusive, and more much accessible. Therefore, today we shine the spotlight on one of the most extraordinary travelers of the natural world, that is Amur Falcon. These graceful falcons undertake an almost unimaginable journey, as we all know this, crossing multiple countries, navigating oceans, relying on critical stopover sites in northeast India, traveling nearly 22,000 kilometers in a full migration cycle. So, their migration is not only a scientific marvel but also a story of resilience and survival. So, and leading us through this journey is someone whose work has been pivotal in improving our understanding of these. Sorry, someone is joining. Yeah, this incredible raptors. It is my honor to introduce Dr. R. Suresh Kumar from Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun. Dr. Kumar is a distinguished wildlife biologist with nearly 3 decades of research and field experience. He has worked across a diverse range of species, landscapes, and conservation themes. In recent years, Kumar has made significant contributions to the study of migration ecology, particularly the satellite tracking of Amur falcons, which has been instrumental in revealing their routes, behavior, and survival strategies during their epic journey. He currently serves as a nodal officer for the C2C World Natural Heritage Management and Training Center, a UNESCO affiliated center at WII, where his work integrates research, heritage management, training, and conservation outreach. We are truly privileged to have him with us today, sir. Welcome, sir. Yeah.
Thank you,
So,
Vandana, and
yeah.
namaste to everybody, and hello to everyone from abroad. Uh, so, uh, so it, I mean, it always feels good when I'm having to share the story of this amazing story of Amur Falcons to everybody. Like I was just talking to Vandana earlier in before the start of the meeting,
Yes.
that I would like to always do this presentation in person, as a marathon presentation, like the way the Amur Falcons fly nonstop 2-3 hours to tell the story. And I still feel that there are so much stories to be shared. But given that it's not possible to do that all the time, I think the online medium is very good, and I'm able to connect with a lot of you who are coming from, who are joining from very distant places. So it always feels wonderful that there are people interested in hearing these stories. I was just noticing, I think there are a few people even joining from the remote places of Manipur and possibly from Nagaland too. So it feels good that
Yes,
uh,
yes.
so the Amur Falcons are connecting us. So yes. So what I mean, like the way we had originally planned that we would have this session more of an interactive session, because I've
Interactive session, yes.
done these presentations couple of times before, and some of these presentations are available online. But then in the last minute decision that there may still be some people who are joining for the first time, and I thought that maybe share a few images which can capture some of the things that people would be interested in knowing about. And
Hmm.
like we had also planned that, maybe some of you can already start putting your questions in the chat box, and then we can try and,
Answer
respond
them.
to each of
Yes.
that.
Hmm.
And again, there are going to be time constraints. But I promise that I'll try and get back to each of those queries that you may have at a later point of time, now that we have your contact details so that we can share this information. Right. So Vandana, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share a few slides. I'm not going to make a presentation per se, but quickly run through a few
Yes.
images. So,
Yes.
I think that could set the,
Yes,
the
and let me just set the stage, and like I would like to ask you, sir, what makes the Amur Falcon uniquely celebrated migratory raptor, and why does its migration draw such a significant scientific interest?
Oh yes, that's a pretty difficult question. It seems easy to say that. See, no doubt, birds of prey are charismatic. Okay,
Hmm.
and and especially the fact that these birds do make these endurance journeys of, flying nonstop for 5,000 to 6,000 kilometers, and including oceanic crossings that they are doing. So these are so I think these are images that, these are stories that have caught the attention of a lot of people. More importantly, it's also because of the conservation success story, which is basically that these birds were hunted in very large numbers. So there was a lot of media coverage of what happened in 2012, and in their stopover sites in Northeast India. So there were very hard-hitting images of what, the scale of the hunting was happening. And but then somehow we were very lucky. Things turned around in 2013 onwards. People started to protect Amur falcons. As I speak today, this is a long running conservation effort that people continue to protect Amur falcons in places where generally everyone thought that conservation is something that is not possible. So I think this is one pivotal thing, and of course the Amurs kept telling stories about what they were doing and why they're coming here, and some of those stories that I'll share with you in these images. So I think that captured it. And I was also going to end the presentation that I've just put it up by saying that the Amurs are literally connecting not only landscapes, okay, but they are also connecting communities. And
Yeah.
the areas that they travel in, it's just one planet that we all share with. I think these are some of those interesting stories that keeps connecting us back to nature. So these I think are definitely very, very important things that have scaled up this the story about the Amurs.
Yeah, you can just share the PPT and we
Okay,
can start. Yeah.
okay, okay.
And
Yeah, yeah.
also to inform everyone that this session is being recorded and it will be on YouTube. It will be uploaded on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, do you see it? Do you
Yes.
see the
Yes.
slides?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So great. So I'm just sharing these few images, and then I will just add on a few stories. Uh, yeah, so this does not need an introduction. The Amur, a male Amur, on its migration. Okay, the female. Okay, they're quite different from how the male appears. This is a young bird, immature bird. Can't say whether this is the male or female. And so, yes, the Amur falcon is a species in India, we know this species as a passage migrant. And what we had also known that these are birds that are elliptical migrants. The simple reason or the fact that is that the Amurs are generally seen in Northeast India in the month of October, November, only to seen again in the next year in October, November, when they're again passing through India on their southbound migration to Africa. So it was generally assumed that these birds are taking different migratory routes, not coming again in those areas where they appear in October, November. So they breed far up there in Far East Asia, that's the Manchurian steppe landscape, and then go down to southern Africa. That is across the equator. So these birds are also known as a trans-hemispheric migrant. They go down to those savannas and the grasslands down there in southern Africa. That's known as the African Wells region. So today we know that the Amurs come in very large numbers and make major stopover in Northeast India. So it's not just only in a few sites in Nagaland, but many other sites in Manipur, and also in the adjoining region of what you see here. This region is part of the state of Assam, and then in Meghalaya. So this is like an arc. What you notice here is an arc. And these are hill ranges. This is different from the eastern Himalayas, but these are much shorter, hill systems. And this is part of what is known as Patkai Hills, Naga Hills, and the Chin Hills here. And then this region is known as the Kachar Hills here. And then there are Khasi Hills in Meghalaya. So it appears like these birds favor these hill systems, and so you do notice that these stars that I've shown here are these stopover sites where you would see incredible numbers of Amurs. And the smaller dots are all other places where a small number of Amur falcons are reported seen. And these is not fixed. So Amur falcon seen in one location in one year may not necessarily be there in that year. It continue to be there every year in that same location. So in some years they would not be there, and they would be seen more in numbers in those other starred locations. So these starred locations are definitely their key stopover sites. So this is where you get to see those incredible numbers. And these are those beautiful areas, those landscapes where Amur stop over. This is the village called Panti. This is where the hunting of the Amur falcons happened on those slopes, but it is also here where people started protecting Amurs for the first time. This is from the beautiful Tamenglong district of Manipur. This was a landscape that I just returned back from where we tagged three Amurs. It is not up in these ridge line, but rather down in these valleys. There are these river courses. Along those river courses, you do have the secondary forest, primarily bamboo. So they stop over in these areas, and yes, so there is something very unique about some of these sites, which we're still trying to understand, that what is it that they are looking for, that they are stopping over in these places. One another picture of Manipur, the Tamenglong district, and not very far down here, right down here, there's one of the very important rivers in the northeastern hills region, which is known as the Barak River, and that drains into Bangladesh and joins the Brahmaputra River and then the Ganga and opens out into the Bay of Bengal. So it's a very important river here, and there's one major stopover site of the Amurs, which is known as Chilwan. Okay, so let's just have a look at the scale of these congregations that you see. This is just incredible numbers. I think I can just keep watching this over and over again and feel never satisfied about it. Whether you're seeing the video, you can also imagine what it will be like when you're actually standing there and looking up in the sky. So they just don't collide with one another. They just fly. So it's incredible what we are seeing here. So from what I know, so there's nowhere else in the world, possibly except in Somalia, which is definitely another very important stopover site, particularly when they are starting back on their flight, the spring migration. back from Africa to India. So I think you do see such sites there in southern Somalia along the Kenyan border. Again, hill areas there. So every speck of the dots that you see in this image are Amur Falcons. So I think these are images which have really captured the minds of people, which they could never, imagine that there could be that many number of birds. So this is during the daytime. So just endless, numbers of these birds, and it's really, really fascinating to see what goes on. And we would see them through the day sitting in trees, resting, or just going about, flying around, playing, just wheeling up, milling up in the sky. But they, what we had initially thought that they're here for resting, but that's one of the reasons. But then it is also most importantly because this is where they actually undergo what is known as migratory fattening or
Yes, I
hyperphagia.
was just about to ask this to you. That
Sorry,
why all I was about to ask you this. That
can you
why
see?
always Manipur
Hello?
and yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Can you see the slides? Can you see
Yes,
the
yes,
slides?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
So
just
before I
about to just ask you this, that why always Manipur or Nagaland? Like what type of food they eat there? Like
Okay,
what is
okay. Yeah,
special?
yeah. So
Yeah.
correct. So they do. These are small insectivorous raptors, but I do know that up there in the Manchurian steppe, or as well in southern Africa, they're probably feeding on other insects as well as smaller vertebrates, maybe rodents and voles and lizards. They're quite generalist. But here in Manipur, we definitely found that they feed extensively on winged termites. So this is the season of the termites emergence, the time when these amurs arrive here. So yeah. So the thing is, it is 95% termites. So maybe at a later point of time, I can again explain these, the acknowledging the contributions of these two gentlemen here. Both of them are unfortunately not there. They've passed away a few years ago. Ramki Srinivasan was the one who was responsible for highlighting the scale of hunting and initiating conservation work in Pangti in Nagaland. And Nick Williams was part of the CMS Convention for Migratory Species, the Raptors program. He was the head of the Raptors program, who was instrumental in helping me get the satellite tracking project started off in Nagaland. So these two gentlemen made incredible contributions at very, very crucial time of early years of this story. Uh, so it's been now almost 18 years now. So there's a lot of researchers and students and lots of officers from the state, from the forest department, from the state, who were key characters, I would say, who came in at the right time, trying to educate people, trying to make people aware, administer orders banning hunting. And yes, so beyond this, there's also the local communities who played a major role, who continue to play a major role across many of these sites. I've managed to visit some of these key important stopover sites, meet with people in these years, and the energy, the enthusiasm with which they are protecting Amur Falcons is something incredible. And yes, so, and apart from this, in huge numbers of people who've been part of this program who've really made this story a success. So yes, so it's not just me doing this work, but there's a lot of people behind the scene who have helped our understanding of the Amurs. So catching Amurs is a huge challenge. So the first time in 2013, that was my first learning. We've gone there to put transmitters on these birds, but how do you get them? So also, it was only there that through the local people, we learned that you need to actually hoist these nets up almost 20 feet, 25 feet up in the sky, where they would come to roost and then wait and watch, wait and catch them. So it's hugely challenging, but it has also been quite an adventurous experience, learning, the tricks and the trade of how to catch these birds in a scientific way. And so yes, so that was something very, very important that we need to keep in mind. So you don't want to have thousands of birds just flying into your net and ending up killing a few of these birds. No, so that's something that's not good. So it has been a challenge catching these birds in those numbers. So the Amur Falcon Conservation Initiative, the aspects that I was primarily involved in was putting satellite transmitters on to understand what these birds do. So over these years, we've gone and tagged something like 20 Amur Falcons across some of these sites. The sites in Assam and Meghalaya sites still waiting to be done. I'm hoping that in the coming years, we will be going there and tagging few more birds and adding to the conservation effort. So once these birds are in hand, it feels really, really very personal because these birds are going to go so far away and you may never be able to catch them again or touch them again. And so they are lightweight. They're about less than 200 grams. So you need to have transmitters or devices put on them which are much lighter, that doesn't hinder their flight. So yes, so there are these smart transmitters, state-of-the-art transmitters, which are solar powered Argos PTT, like the one that I've been recently using, is from this company called Lotec. And these are satellite transmitters that connect with the Argos constellation of satellites. These are polar orbiting satellites and weigh about 3.63 grams and almost 3.5 grams, I would say. So these are units that weigh less than 3% of the body weight, and that's the thumb rule. So we need to keep this in mind that for birds like the Amurs, or for that matter, for any bird, any device that we are putting on, it should be less than 3%. For mammals, okay, maybe less than 5%, but definitely for birds, it is less than 3% body weight. So the first of the
हाँ
birds
जरा
that we tagged was the bird known
गड़बड़
as Naga. We call it the
सियाने
pride of Nagaland because this is the first time, for the very first
सियाने
time,
देख
that
रहे
this satellite tagging was done in Nagaland.
हाँ
And
पर
so we
मीटिंग
gave
में हूँ
and it was a male Amur. We gave a masculine name that's called Naga
मीटिंग में हूँ तो आया है
after
वो
the region. And this bird gave
फोटो
us some incredible data. I think this information alone captured,
नो
what
क्लू
people did not know about and helped us in creating the conservation awareness. So after release, after a few days, it set off on its journey across
जीवना मनाकू
India.
पण है ना कलाक
It made
मनाकू
this non-stop flight of almost
है ना હું मीटिंग
5,600
में हूँ
kilometers to Somalia, 5 days, 10 hours. So this is something that we never thought that it would do. So first 1,000 kilometer stretch, and then thereafter cut across the Indian peninsular part of India, and then doing this 3,000 kilometers oceanic crossing over the Arabian Sea. So a lot of questions propped up then and continue to do even today, but we do have a fair understanding why these birds are doing that. The next bird is Pangti. It was named after the village where this hunting was happening. And both Naga and Pangti, that tagged in 2013, returned back for 3 years back to this place. So every year, these birds coming back was a moment of celebration. And so people who had started to protect, create conservation and awareness, this could capture more people in minds about the return of these birds. And so it was very, very useful or helpful that these birds return back. And so over the years, we went and tagged. So what started off as a conservation story in Nagaland in 2013. Thereafter, we went back and tagged birds in 2016 in a few other sites in Nagaland. It got the imagination of people elsewhere in the region, like Manipur, to start off protecting Amurs. So they started protecting Amurs from 2015. So I think they did follow upon the stories that was emanating from Nagaland. And so, in order to support the conservation efforts, so we went into Manipur to tag the Amurs there. So, this bird is known as Chilwan, the village on the banks of the Barak River. This is Iran. These are birds that gave us some really interesting data. Puching and Chilwan 2, okay, and then Guangram. And this particular individual also made a huge difference. One of my favorite, the Amur Falcons that was tagged. So this individual almost for 4 years gave us data, and it made non-stop flights across the Arabian Sea 7 times. Every time she would arrive, she would make this non-stop flight. While I say that she made this non-stop flight, there are other Amurs that we have tagged that would stop for a day or maybe two and take it more easy and then try to cross the Arabian Sea, the non-stop. That section they still have to do it non-stop. So, but this individuals, straight away from Nagaland or from Manipur, don't stop anywhere and land only in Somalia. So these tracking efforts gave us some incredible stories of what was going on here. And we now clearly know that it's only between Northeast India and Somalia, that is during the southbound migration. And the same from Somalia to Northeast India is when they are making these non-stop flights. And their routes are definitely different. On the southbound, the routes are much more on the peninsular part of India, but on the return migration, they are skirting the Arabian Peninsula and coming into or flying through northern India and heading off to northeast India, but don't stop, which is the reason why people generally know that they will not be seen till the next year. So there are also reasons why they don't stop, which we probably can share. I can share with you the stories. So they passed through 23 countries that we know now based on the tracking effort. So it is not a bird of one particular country or a region, but belongs to all of these 23 countries or across these continents. So the recent effort, which has captured a lot more media attention and a lot of people following it on social media, are these three birds, which I just tagged, 2 weeks back in Manipur, in the Tamenglong district, on the banks of the Barak River. So this male Amur and an immature uh, female, and then an adult female by name Aho. So these are the last three birds of the second phase of Amur Falcon tracking, the last end of this project. And we are hoping that these birds are going to hopefully give us a lot more interesting story and return back to Manipur and Nagaland. So at present, their locations are here. Um what we definitely see, and like in the past, the bird named Alang has actually headed further west, almost close to the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Congo rainforest there. Not sure it's going to enter into the rainforest, it's going to keep itself more to the savanna. But I had never had any of the previously tagged Amurs spending so much time there. It's not a long time, but at least for about 2 weeks, a week now that the birds are there. Uh, while the male bird has gone has followed the trajectory that we had previously known, and is currently moving around the city of Harare in Zimbabwe, the capital city of Harare. And while the other bird, Ahu, is still out there in northern Somalia, I'm hoping all is well with it. With now the volcanic eruption happening in Ethiopia and the volcanic ash and the dust moving in that direction, I'm a bit concerned. But let's hope that she's okay and she will start moving. So the conservation story that I often narrate is incomplete without showing this image. These are the people who take those baby steps, who took those baby steps early on, and they wished well just before release of this bird Pankti, the village headman and pastor of the village who have been part of the conservation awareness work back in 2013. You can imagine they stopped us from releasing these birds just to tell us that no, we just cannot release the bird like that. We have to pray for it. We have to wish well that this bird comes back. So this is something. It was a life-changing moment for me to experience firsthand as to how people thought process can influence and shape conservation. So I think there's a very hard-hitting image, and true to what they did, the Amur, the Pankti bird returned year after year. So people
Okay,
believe that
sir,
it's
sorry to
because
interrupt you.
yeah.
Sir, could you please hide this stop sharing and hide wala option because like the audience
So,
is not able to read it.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I was just sharing that the people here are elders from the village, and this man, he's the pastor who was praying wishing well for this. Just to inform you, prior to this, we released two other Amurs, the Naga, the Amur Falcon, and another bird named Waka were released. And the third bird we handed over to these to the local people to release. So it's also another very important thing I would share here, that it was just a momentary thing that we should name these birds. Until then, we did not think about what names to give and things like that. We generally don't give. We just follow a tag ID or a number to the bird. But here we felt that we should give these names, and so that again made a big difference, because the people felt a sense of ownership to
Yeah.
that individual. The name Panti was now traveling across the world. I mean, across the areas wherever the bird was flying. So that way they felt that their village people were getting to know about their efforts, conservation efforts. So this simple thing again stood up this request of many other communities in other parts of Nagaland, Manipur, asking me the same thing. You come and catch these birds and put a tag on them and name the bird after our village. So that's something that the practice that we have continued on. That's the reason the names that you will see, uh, you know. So yeah, so sometimes when all goes well, you are really blessed with a lot more interesting stories. So this is one incident in 2016 on one of my trips when I was with a few friends and who were having cameras and taking pictures of these birds. I spotted this all white color Amur falcon. So initially I thought it's a domestic pigeon that's flying along with the Amurs, but then through my glasses I could see that it was an all white Amur falcon. So luckily a friend of mine, he captured this leucistic form of Amur, and the moment I reached the village, back at the village, this is the place called Yongim Chen in Longlang district. I met with the pastor of that village and told him that we saw this all white Amur falcon in your village. So he was surprised, but then the thing that he said, really kept me wondering, the way people think. So he just told me that so the white Amur falcon, is something that it's a godsend, and this is an angel that has come to the village, and so this is as a response to the good work that the community is doing to protect the Amur falcon. So in the coming days, this was covered widely that this all white Amur falcon relating to an angel having arrived in this village. So every other site where people were now protecting Amur falcons were now actually looking for the white falcon amongst them, saying that when will the angel land in our area, and that we are also doing good work, or we are also doing a lot for the Amur falcons. So these things again made a big difference. And to end with it, so we know that the Amurs are returned through the state of Gujarat, and so Devrat, who is part of the audience today, he, along with a few
Yes.
other bird watchers, raptor enthusiasts, have started up what is known as an Amur Watch
Amur watch.
since
Yeah.
last 2 years. And so I think I would ask maybe Dev to speak a little bit about it later. But this is again a very good initiative of connecting communities who don't, where the Amurs don't stop in great numbers but are passing through. And it has been quite a successful effort in actually keeping people connected with this Amur story. So there many of them volunteering for watching Amur Falcons. So this is again a very good feeling of how people from distant places are so much interested or connected with the Amur Falcons. So Amur falcons fly free today in Northeast India. So they're not hunted in the scale like the way it happened in 2012. So thanks to a lot of the effort, a huge number of people, including the communities who've been putting in so much effort in trying to protect these birds for that 2 weeks, 3 weeks that they are passing through Northeast India. And at the end of the day, the end of my presentation, I'd like to only say this, that Amur Falcons not only connect landscapes, they also connect communities. So that's the power of the Amur Falcons. So The Amur Falcons are there in northeast India for this resource. That's the winged termites that emerge. So if you're talking about a million Amur Falcons coming to northeast India, it's also during this time a billion winged termites emerge. So it's a nature's way of keeping a check on the termite populations. Termites are very important, organisms providing important ecosystem services. But at the same time, the Amur falcons are there to keep a check on them. And termites are high protein food, and definitely is what is fueling the Amur Falcons non-stop flight across to Somalia. So once they are in Somalia and or on their return migration, once they are across in Myanmar, thereafter their flight behavior is different. They stop on almost, like they fly during the day and come to roost at night. And, it's like don't cover non-stop flights till they reach their breeding grounds or till the time that they arrive in southern Africa, where they would spend their summer, southern summer. Okay, so I think I'll end the presentation here and open it up to the audience to ask questions, and I will stop
Yes.
sharing.
Yes, the one question that has popped up is what key environmental cues or mechanisms do they rely on during navigation, especially while crossing the Arabian Sea, where visual landmarks are absent?
Okay, so what we seem to clearly see here is that the timing when they would depart from northeast India is also the time when the northeastern monsoon starts off. So it's the northeastern winds which are active. So the flight path starting from Nagaland all the way into Bangladesh and flying down along the coast of east coast of India, and then cutting across through the Indian peninsula and then entering into the Arabian Sea. It is also the same course through which there are active wind systems. And this is actually the returning monsoon or the northeast monsoon. So the northeast monsoon does not have as much strength, okay, as much as that of the southwest monsoon that comes into India. Now, but then once the northeast monsoon enters into the Arabian Sea, it intensifies into what we know as easterly trade winds, because these are the trade winds that in ancient seafarers back in time with their sailboats would set sail to the Arabian Peninsula or go down to the Tanzanian coastline or further down to towards Africa. So, maybe countries like or the regions like Zanzibar, where there are active trade links. So this is the time when they would set sail. So it's these winds that the Amurs are taking. And so it's definitely the intensity of those winds oriented in that direction. So they just need to get onto this conveyor belt, and that would take them to Africa, to Somalia.
Okay, so is there any other questions? If anyone
Yeah.
is
So
interested to
if there's
ask,
any questions, you can raise your hand. Then maybe we can.
please feel free to ask the questions. So, sir, I would like to ask a question.
Okay.
So, given all the work done from tagging to community conservation, what should be the next major step for future Amul falcon protection? Because everything is done, like you're tagging, you're tracking. So, what next?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still so many things to do. The definitely. So what that we have been doing right now is trying to keep the conservation moment going. Okay, and that's hugely challenging. This is not something that I talk about as much, but yes, when I do make presentations at other venues and other situations, I do bring this up. So conservation comes with sacrifices. Okay, and these are birds that are stopping over in community land. Much of these areas where the Amurs stop over are community lands, and the people have the right to decide what they want to do with that land. If there are forested slopes, they would cut down the forest for agriculture, for shifting cultivation. So you might have Amur sitting there, roosting there. And if you want to get these sites declared, or even if the communities declare these sites as protected, so what do they get? So at this point of time, there's not much discussion on it, and moreover, people are not, not necessarily expecting it. They feel that it is part of their lives, that Amurs always come to their village, and that they do protect them. But that's a very simplistic way of saying it. There are expectations. People do expect that the government to do something for them, that they have started protecting them. So it's not just about money. It's not about compensating for what they have done by giving them money or things like that, but maybe a much more larger scheme of things. So these are things that requires a lot of discussions and dialogues, and these are some things that I do engage with with the local people. And Amurs have adapted to these changes that go on. So they might be stopping over in a particular year in a particular village along a slope, but the next year the bamboo has just died off, or bamboo has been cut down, so they would shift to another village. So so it's a challenge. So it's a challenge in the sense that it is not site-specific conservation effort. It's not just one village where the Amurs are stopping over. You go and protect them, but rather they are there. They go and stop over in. They keep shifting. They keep shifting, and these shifts are also very, very interesting. These shifts are also influenced by termite emergence. And what we know is that the termites don't emerge every year in the same intensity as what it was previously in a particular area. So Amurs are shifting from one stopover site to another stopover site. I personally think is being shaped by where the termite emergence is.
Hmm.
And so, yes, so the conservation work needs to continue on. That's one. The second thing is that, very, very important to understand how termites are playing a role, because without termites, I don't think Amur falcons will get the kind of food that they will require to make this migration journey. So it's so intertwined, that the monsoon is influencing the southwest monsoon, and then the northeast monsoon is influencing termite emergence. And termite emergence definitely is some kind of a cycle. So we've kind of cracked on, what these termites are and when do they emerge, and the scale of emergence and these stories. But a lot more intensive work is required for that. Okay. So I think, yeah, it can keep me on going on with this work. For that matter, anybody interested, there's so much to be done. We can continue to do that. Okay. So
Okay,
Vandana, I see there are
yeah,
quite a
we
few
have
other
few more
questions.
questions.
Yes.
We can take Shikha Chaturvedi. She is waiting. Yes, you can ask if
Uh,
you want to.
so, hello, sir. It was very insightful session. I really liked it. So, I recently completed my MSc from HNB Garhwal University, and my dissertation was on great barbet cavity nesting and their interaction, like the interaction with other cavity nesting birds. And I am very interested in birds' behavior. So, basically,
Okay.
my question was from sir, and the question is, in your experience, do Amur Falcons face any interest-specific competition or behavioral interaction at major stopover sites that could, influence their migration energetics? Is there, sir, any?
Okay, so they do congregate in very large numbers at these stopover sites because the food is concentrated there. Very interestingly, the termites that we are talking about, that is basically emerging, is a species that is actually having a wide distribution range all the way from Uttarakhand state down into southern India and also into Southeast Asia. It is the same termite species, very likely, okay, that is there.
Okay, sir.
But very uniquely, they emerge in each of these sites at different times. And so
Okay.
northeastern hills, they possibly occur in much larger densities. and so their emergence is huge, and this is definitely influencing the behavior of the Amur. So that's why they are congregating here. Elsewhere, they are not as aggregated as what you see, whether it is in their breeding grounds or in the non-breeding grounds. They are dispersed, and here they appear to be all funneling in, coming into Northeast India. So there is competition amongst them, but it is also the fact that, if I got your question right, that it's also that when you are in large flocks like this, then there are more eyes spotting where the termite activity is, and so yes, so naturally they are benefiting by staying together, sticking together. The other reason that they are also collecting together is that they will now fly. They possibly are influenced by the wind systems that will emerge, that will kickstart from here. So it's important to stay together. But there are a number of occasions where the Amurs are also flying alone, all by themselves. It's not that they're all flying together all the time. No, or after having arrived in India until the time that they reach Somalia, that they fly together. No, there are individuals that there are stray records of people sighting one individual, somewhere else, all by itself. It's not in large flocks. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir,
Yes.
one last question. One last question.
Yes.
Sir, like what skills or research direction should I focus on if I want to work at WII in for birds?
Okay, so that's something that you can write to me. You can WhatsApp. Email me, and
Okay, sir.
then you can. I can probably guide you with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah,
Stula, you
we
had a
have
question.
Tula Stafford. Yeah, ma'am, your audio is.
Sorry, Tula, we can't hear you. You
We
have to
can't hear
unmute.
you.
Here we are. Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Dr. Kumar. We met briefly in a meeting about the Project Lager. And I am very interested because not only I adore falcons anyway, but this project has been put up with a falcon that's what you call least threatened and still needs a lot of conservation. And the insights on the conservation techniques are, for me, the most important one. One question, few questions, but I will try to minimize because you answered a few of them. The Amur goes in certain parts of India, it starts flocking together. And the behavior in a flock like that is different than from a swarm, and like with sparrows. And is there any publication on that part? Because it's interesting to see how they defend themselves, because that's what they need, probably.
So you're asking about publications on what? On where they stop over?
Yeah, the Amur flocks together in certain parts.
Right.
And when you see that flock, it's different from a swarm.
Right.
And I was wondering how this flock is interacting with each other, so they don't bump to each other, how they defend themselves, why do they need to flock at that particular
Right.
site. Is there any
Right.
publication on that?
Right. So at this point of time, we don't have information on how or when they stop in such aggregations. We don't have. We just know that they stop over in each of these places, and so yes, so that's something to be investigated in coming times. But yes, so that's something. So we at this point of time, we have documented that these are the places where they stop over. Okay, and so I have tried to cover this in my report. There is a report on this work, and I think I can share with you that report. If you do write to me, I can share that with you. Yes.
Please. Can I have one little last question about the termites?
Yes, please.
Because it shows that it has a healthy ecosystem, and you want to keep that ecosystem. So that's probably where the focus is on.
Yes, yes. So, uh, so there are some very interesting questions that one would like to ask. Uh, it got me thinking when I visited one village where these birds were hunted in very large numbers in the past. And so the locals told me that, even before the conservation work that we started, this was before 2010, they had started protecting Amurs. So they started setting aside these areas, the areas where these birds would flock, as protected. Now, their purpose of protection was that they wanted to protect this as a biodiversity important site like that, and the Amurs were thrown into that. Okay, but there was hunting also, but hunting stopped. But the locals told me that the forest grew back and the Amurs stopped coming to their village,
Oh,
and they don't know where the Amurs come. So in line with that, a few people started to question me that Amurs don't like to be in areas where there is canopy closure or where the forest is, has reached a climax stage. They are seeking out places where the forest is getting opened up, or in areas where there is bamboo. Now, this is primarily because when you cut down the vegetation, there is a lot more above ground biomass, or the biomass there, and which the termites are coming in to play a role to recycle that. Okay. Now, it's likely, or it may be that, in areas where there is climax vegetation, there may not be that many termites in those areas versus areas which is just getting opened up. Okay, so it's interesting. Again, quite a challenge to study these termites because they live completely subterranean. You really cannot locate their mounds. There are no mounds like other termites that you would see elsewhere. So, but this is definitely warranting research as to understand the termite distribution or their dynamics as to how they are occurring in these different places and how this is shaping the Amur's flocking behavior.
thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you
right.
very much.
So I see a question here on the chat box. I think we can go down one by one from here.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so there is one. There's a question by Akshay. It's a comment. Okay, it's a question. There have been sporadic records of Amur falcons from Andaman Islands. What could be the reason for such sightings? Storms. Yeah, so that's very interesting. There are quite a few sightings, and these is not something like one occasion. It's almost like frequently every year there are a few birds which are entering into or sighted in Andaman and Nicobar Islands that's so far south. And if these birds are going to cross over, then very likely that they're making a much longer oceanic crossing, from far down below. So there is a possibility that they could be uh, they could have been blown off down there by some cyclonic storm. It's also the time when these Amurs are coming into India and getting across to Africa is also the time when there are cyclonic disturbances in the Bay of Bengal as well as in the Arabian Sea. So, like for example, at this point of time, there is cyclone Senyar, and there are a few Amurs that arrive late. They could also be taking those winds to cut across these, oceanic stretches. There is a possibility. So storms, uh, it's not just necessarily blowing them off track, but these birds are also using those cyclonic storms, those tailwind of those storms to cut across. So just to give you a perspective, the orientation of uh, cyclonic storm is from southeast towards northwest. So they're coming down from far south in the Bay of Bengal, moving up towards the east coast of India. And if there are birds coming from that direction, they just need to get onto those tailwinds. Then they are getting across to the peninsular part of India. So there could be some birds doing that. What is also interesting is when you brought this up is that there are records of birds stopping over or sightings of these birds in Mauritius, Seychelles, and even the British Indian Ocean territory, a small speck of an island down in the Indian Ocean. There are birds seen there. So it's really surprising as to how they got there, but that's too far out there. So they may have actually crossed a much longer oceanic stretch that is possible. Okay, so yes, so we don't know. There could be populations that could be doing that. If they are doing that, then it's really a much longer oceanic crossing that they are doing. But they could be hopping over onto these islands for a few days and then doing it step by step. They could be doing that. The next question is by Madhur. At what heights Amurs generally fly when on migration? This is something that we don't know. We don't have instruments in these devices to record the heights at which these birds fly. There are new transmitters in the making. And so hopefully in the next few years, we start deploying that, and that should give us a better understanding of how they are using at what heights, because like I've been telling that the story here is all about following those winds or going with those winds. So there is a tailwind support. So these tailwinds or these wind systems are only active at certain heights. It's not that they are there along the vertical column. So this is also evident from the fact that the wind systems that are operating on their return migration are at a much higher elevation. This is purely from the wind direction and the winds at what heights. It's not about where the birds are flying, but kind of when you will overlay it with the birds' tracks, it appears that on the return migration they're possibly flying a little higher than during what they are doing at this point of time. So we don't have data on that, but it is speculative. So when do Amur Falcons do the return migration? Yes, so you will have to wait till May. Late April, May is the time when they will be entering into Gujarat, and they will be cutting across through the northern part of India. So Gujarat is the best place to see, especially on the Porbandar coastline is where you can actually sit and see from the Amur Watch program. We've now seen that there are those dates when you're sitting out during the day, you can actually see streams of Amur, small flocks flying across, making landfall, flying over land.
Yes, and I guess Devrat would be the right person to tell us about his experience about the Amur watch that is going on there in Gujarat, right? So, Devrat,
Sure.
are you available? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Handana, for giving me the opportunity to speak about the Amur Watch program. So, and it was a wonderful interactive session. Thank you, Dr. Suresh, for your valuable insights. So, my colleagues Viral Joshi and Mahendra Bill and I started Amur Watch program in 2024 under the Bird Conservation Society Gujarat. So it's a simple citizen-based initiative to track the migration of Amur falcon across the state. So every year, bird watchers from all over Gujarat join in and share their sightings on eBird. So which help us understand their movement and identify the important locations where they pass. So last year, during our survey along the Gujarat coastline, so we recorded more than 300 Amur falcons.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. So this definitely is now I think going to be a year-round seasonal activity, but year after year, I'm sure more and more people are going to take up. So it's not just Nagaland or Manipur that somebody needs to go to look for the Amurs, but that's a different spectacle. You should definitely go there to see the Amurs, but you do get to see the Amurs here in along the Gujarat coastline.
Yeah, but Suresh, I would like to one more. So next year we plan to expand this effort. So and we warmly invite all bird watchers to join us and share their sightings again.
Okay. So going on to the question, when do Amur Falcons, when Amur congregate, are they not afraid of being hunted down by large raptors? No, usually most people don't. I mean, there are a few large raptors that are also passing through this area. They may be hunted, but it is just that they are in such large flocks. Generally, the other raptors would avoid that. And there is no records of large raptors catching these birds to eat that. So I suspect that may not be happening, but I don't know. hunting down Amurs near
Host
Lonavala
એટલે
in Maharashtra.
જેમ
Okay,
કે
so there's an
વેલકમ
interesting
કરવાનું આ
sighting.
બધું
Booted eagle
અરેન્જ
hunting down
કરવાનું
Amurs. Did you
પછી
actually
ક્યારે
see
શું
it being
થાય છે
hunted?
કોણ શું બોલશે
If that
થેન્ક
is
યુ
the
વેલકમ
case,
ને એવું
they
બધું
can they do often chase one another. Those things are
લિંક
there
મેં
because
જનરેટ કરી બધા લિંક
they feel
બધું કરે
competitive. Okay, when other birds also come into the area, but booted eagle is very large raptor compared to the Amurs. But this is interesting. It
Yeah.
possible. That's possible. Um, what are the long-term goals of your project? What insights
ના
do you
ના
think the project would
38
give?
જણા છે હમણાં 55 હતા
Are there plans or goals for
ટાઈમ એવો હે ને
radar-based
કદાચ
large-scale
વીકેન્ડ એટલે
studies of
નો
Amur
આયા ઘણા બધા
migration like the
રજિસ્ટ્રેશન
studies we see
150
in the
થયા હતા
US?
ઓલમોસ્ટ
Uh,
149 થયા
yes.
હતા આયા એટલા જ
Yeah, so the long-term goals, there are, I think Amurs are a fantastic subject for understanding, how the wind systems, the northeast monsoon as well as the southwest monsoon, shaping bird migrations in the Indian region as a whole, in the Indian
પાર્ટિસિપેન્ટ્સ કરે ને
subcontinent. So
જોઈતી હતી
the wind systems or the direction which the Amurs are taking
દેખાય
is also very likely being used by other birds which are migrating between India and Africa. So one example is the white cuckoo.
Citizen-based change.
Sorry, Dave, you want to say something?
No, sorry, sorry, sir.
Okay, okay. So like the pied cuckoo, there are other cuckoos, very likely the common cuckoo. There could be small birds like the barn swallows, which are also, which quite likely are also going to Africa for the wintering. So they all are very
તમે બે
likely
જાઓ હજી
using
વાર
these
લાગશે
winds. So
મને આયા દઈ
it's
દેજો
very important to understand how in certain years when the wind systems are not going to
ઘડીક
be
રહીને
that
તમે
active,
ખાઈ લો
in
શાંતિથી
poor monsoon years, what happens? So very likely many of the Amurs may not even be making it across. So there might be more challenge. So if you look at it from the question of climate change impacts, then these birds become a fantastic subject to
હલો
understand what goes on.
यहीं पर हो
And also from the research that
अरे वो
the
खाने का
information
पूछने
that
आए
we've
थे
been getting,
तो फिर मैंने
we do
इसलिए
see
म्यूट
that
किया
when
था
the Amurs are coming into
अरे
India, especially on the return migration, some of these
हाँ बट
birds,
उनको 8:30
their
बजे ही
arrival
खत्म
or
करना
their
था तो
orientation
भी उन्होंने
to a
चल
certain
रहा
area,
है
especially a
हाँ
few of them coming down into
हाँ
southern India on the
ठीक है
return migration,
हाँ हाँ परफेक्ट
invariably those years, the time when they arrive, there
हाँ
is
हाँ मैं
usually a
यहीं पर हूँ
cyclonic
यहीं पर
depression in the Bay of
बाय
Bengal. So they
बाय
are actually a fantastic model, I would say, a predictor for cyclonic
હું આવું હજી
activity in
પૂરું
the Bay
નથી
of
થયું
Bengal. They
પૂરું
are there
કરવાનું
because the cyclonic activity brings in certain amount of rain and it's influencing some insect emergence, quite likely termite emergence in the southern part of India. And they're also taking benefit of those tailwinds. So there are quite a few examples of that from the tracking study. So yes, so these are areas that we need to research on. The radar study is something that I've been exploring, especially IIT Mumbai. They do monitor. They use radars to monitor weather systems in the Arabian Sea. So these are again good uh, opportunities to track bird migration. So that's something. It's in a very early stage. I've tried to explore, and there is avenues for taking this up further. Okay. So as Amor's used returning monsoon winds over India while flying, is their flying weather dependent? So if the returning monsoon timing was to shift due to climate change or any other, that would mean the Amurs would be affected. Yes, so that's exactly what I'm also thinking. So maybe they may be affected. But these birds, I think they are clearly adapted to all of these changes that is going on, and it is not just here. So you might talk about a poor monsoon year, but that also may be influencing what is happening up there in their breeding grounds. So there are years when there is not that much food available, so naturally their reproductive investment that particular year may be low. They don't produce that many young that particular year. So there's a lot at play. It is not necessarily one thing is only the monsoon is impacting them here in India, and it could be quite cyclical in many ways. So, can you please explain? This is by Suresh Krishnan. What makes the Amur Falcons to take such extensive migrations? So, I think I've answered that. It's these wind systems and the termite emergence. How and when do they sleep while traveling over the long sea route? They don't sleep. They can't afford to sleep. But from what we know of other birds that do these non-stop flights, one part of their brain switches off, either the right or the left hemisphere of their brain switches off, and the other is active. This is based on research on other birds. Very likely, it's the same thing that's happening here. Uh, this is by Julius. Is there any other ecosystem that Amur falcons bring in to when they come to take a rest beside the termite connection with it? This is something that I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never looked at it from that point of view, but maybe it does make me think. So I need to think about it. So I don't have an answer right now for that. There's somebody, Arun has seen a lot of Amurs in 11 numbers in Trivandrum. Oh, that's where I'm right now, sitting in southernmost part of India. Few in 2017 and several reports later. But this flight path is different from the regular. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So there's a lot of birds generally passing through south of Mumbai or Pune. So between Mumbai to Goa is the area, is the belt, is the major conveyor belt. So through which the Amurs are getting into the Arabian Sea. This is what I'm generally thinking based on the tracking data. But very often there are a lot of reports of Amurs seen further south. But they may be doing course correction after they get out from Trivandrum. Okay, once they fly out. Just imagine if they are going to having to do this oceanic crossing straight from the southern tip of India to South Africa, because a lot of Amurs do go down to South Africa, not Southern Africa. Southern Africa would mean Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and all of these other countries together. But from the tracking data, many of the tagged birds go down as far down as Johannesburg. That is their end destination. That's where they're going to spend 3 to 4 months. So if the birds from India are wanting to go straight down to South Africa, that is to Johannesburg, and want to do this oceanic crossing, then the distance is going to be 7,500 kilometers or more. And that would mean that they would have to fly at least 7 to 8 days nonstop. And I think they may not be able to do that, but I don't know. I cannot tell you. What we definitely think is that they are taking the shortest route to cut across the Arabian Sea to get into the African continent, that is through Somalia. So that's only about 3,000 to 3,500 kilometers oceanic crossing. Now, once you're on land, then thereafter you're going to access food. And the wind system is also oriented that way. There will also be these winds going down into southern Africa, but the major stream of winds is heading into Somalia and to the Arabian region. So with these wind systems entering into Africa, I suspect it is bringing rain. And with rain, there's a lot of insect activity. So the Amurs are in a way tracking food resource. And so when they will get in, so it's easier to cut across here than take a strategy of foraging and then going down gradually, because the austral summer in southern Africa, because it is below the equator and part of the southern hemisphere, when the Amurs arrive, the summer is setting in. So in fact, as winter is arriving here in India, in northern India especially, or in the northern latitudes further where they were breeding, now it is going to be southern summer or austral summer in countries like South Africa and Zimbabwe. So these are birds that are going to visiting different parts of their area, the range, across summer. They never see winter, in fact. So why to go in there before even the summer has fully set in? So they will take a strategy that will take them gradually down there. So this is what I personally think, but there could be few birds that could be doing this very longish route. If that is not the case, then from Trivandrum, they would be getting out into the Arabian Sea, and they will do course correction and then get onto that stream to get into Tanzania or to Somalia or Kenya, along that coast. So there's this question by Ankush. Role of local communities in conservation and how the conservation campaigns influence the behavior of local hunters towards Amur falcon. Yeah, so this is the story of how there has been this major attitude change among local people, and is the local communities themselves dictating how conservation should be practiced. So there are some fantastic examples of villages where they have their own volunteers in the village who, as part of their community service, go and patrol these areas where the Amurs are roosting to safeguard them from hunters. And even if somebody gets caught, then the village decides punitive action on them. There are some fines and things like that. So yes, this conservation effort not only made people aware, it also brought people together, and that is in turn helping regulate what needs to be done. I think that's the story here. Okay. There's a question by Vidya. What are the main dangers do they face? Main dangers they face is, I mean, per se, there is no major dangers per se. I think these birds are well attuned to what they are going to expect, and they must be adapting to that. Hunting is definitely one of the issues if you're looking at that as a danger to themselves. But yes, so they stay around in flock and highly skittish, even in these areas where they will stop over. Even if you just make a drum sound, they will just flush and beat a bamboo stick or something like that, or make a whistle, they would flush out. So they are well aware of the risks that they do face when they're congregating in such large numbers. Madhur Vaidya, there is a photo by someone, I think by Swapnil Tate, of Amurs hunted by booted eagle. Okay, thank you. I have not come across this image. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. That's possible. It's like one-on-one thing. It's not something that is often happening, but yes. Also, Shaheen Falcon hunted a falcon at Lonavala. Okay, I agree. That's another possibility. Lonavala, however, those Lonavala falcons were so involved in feeding on hundreds of caterpillars that it felt they were least bothered about being hunted by birds of prey. We literally saw them walking and running on the grass to pick up hawk moth caterpillars. So that's a very, very interesting find. So yes, so I agree then that these birds are opportunists. So there are some years when the termite emergence is very poor in the Northeast, where they generally stop over in large numbers. So very likely those are years when they are moving to these other landscapes like Lonavala and foraging. And here I have also seen that many of the Amurs that had arrived in Lonavala stayed on for a much longer duration there than what I expected. So that could again be dictated by that local availability of insects or caterpillars, like you point out. So that's very interesting information. Okay, so Ananya is asking for more sessions like this. I would ask Vandana and Devrat to
Absolutely,
organize
sir.
such
Yeah.
seminars. Does male and Abai ask, does male and female have a different path? Uh, well, we don't. I don't know, because it's just a few birds that we tagged, and we do see that there is congruence in their flight path. It's not like one major highway. It's like a belt. Okay, it's a few latitudinal belt. So Mumbai to Pune, so or to Goa. So in that region that they're flying through, and so few birds could be flying north of Mumbai, and few birds could be going further south. It's not in a set path that they could be going. Yeah. So I think that's about it. That's about the questions that I notice here.
Hmm.
If there's any more questions, I could take that. Or yeah.
Anyone who wants to ask some other questions?
Yeah, if not, great.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
uh,
Yes, sir.
thanks to everyone for your interest. And like I said, Amurs are amazing birds of prey. Birds generally are amazing. They connect us. They keep connecting us. You may be from different parts of the world, but you connecting us, right? Yeah.
Yes. So I'll just uh, do the closing speech. Thank you so much, sir, for an enriching and thought provoking session. And we are grateful for your time and for sharing your expertise with all of us today. Um, and thank you for sparing us a little time from your busy schedule.
It's
Yeah,
always a pleasure. I don't hesitate
yes,
from sharing these stories. These are beautiful stories. I think more people need to hear. I would
yes,
also encourage the people attending this program today to please share these stories with more people, and
yeah,
tell. I mean, and I think that's the way that we can spread the message as to how little that they can do and still be part of this program or be
yes.
part of the conservation efforts.
Yes, and session like this become valuable not only because of the knowledge shared, but because of the community that gathers around it, as you mentioned before, and that is what Raptor Network India is nurturing. Like it aims to nurture this only. So, on behalf of Raptor Network India, I once again thank you for guiding us so generously, and I thank all of you for being a part of today's learning session. And please stay connected with the network for upcoming sessions, workshops, and opportunities to contribute. This session is recorded and it will be available on YouTube, and you can also follow us on Instagram with the same name, Raptor Network India, and also in Facebook. So with that, we come to the close of this session. Thank you everyone, and have a nice day, have a nice weekend. Yeah.
Thank you. Namaste
Namaste,
and
namaste.
bye to everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, bye, bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.